Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Life and Drawing Podcast. This is episode 41. This is part 2 of episode 40, which we were talking about dream cars. And I have my floor fan on in the background and I can hear it. So I'm going to turn it off. I don't know why I don't do these things before I start recording. I don't know. Maybe because I'm recording at 5:48 a.m. in the morning. But I don't mind the background noise. It's soothing for me. I like fanned noise, and then I realize that with a sensitive mic, it's gonna pick it up, and I'm gonna sound like I'm in a wind tunnel. So just give me 3 seconds. And I'm back. Now you hit the squeaky chair. Squeak, squeak, squeak. It's crazy? Such a, and I have to manage it, especially because I work with a crew. I'm such a morning person, and I'm equally a night owl. Do you have anyone like that here? Uh, it can be hard to navigate. You know, yeah, because sometimes I'll try to be a little witty in the morning, and if you're interacting with someone who is absolutely not a morning person, no amount of wit is going to change that or change their mood unless it's something that they truly find funny, and you'll get a chuckle. so so I have to manage that because I just tend to be just overly not annoyingly exuberant. I'm not like, hey, top of the morning, everyone. It's not like that. It's just I have energy, and I'm awake and engaged, and so. But yet at the same time, you know what? I am a natural night owl, but as you get older, uh, kind of go into night owl retirement because my mind, I think, is still fully night owl. Like I'll want to stay up late, and if I get into a certain rhythm and I'm able to maintain a a certain amount of energy level, I can work throughout the night. But things have to be lined up right. I think nutritionally, I need to be at a certain level. Uh, and like I said, my energy and whatever I'm working on. Uh, if I establish a a natural rhythm and the piece that I'm working on, like I'm not struggling to conceptualize what I want to create. So I know what I'm doing, and it's just about me like finishing a project. Yes, I can totally go on and just continue, especially when it comes to painting. When it comes to painting, well, one, my hand is forced in the sense of uh, it's not like digital what I'm doing now, where I can just pause and I don't have to worry about something drying and not being malleable the next day, or depending on the medium, even if it's traditional, if I'm just penciling or inking, I could pause and be like, okay, I'll come back and continue penciling and or continue inking. Or if it's like color pencils, sure. But if it's markers, it all depends. If it's just that one object that I'm working on. But if it's a full page, almost like they need to complete that page or certain elements of that page within one setting instead of breaking it up between 2 days. So with painting, it's the same thing unless I'm working in a very like layered position, like I'm doing a landscape, and so I'm going to do the background. And when I do the background, it's completely finished. So I've blended in all my colors that I want for the background. I've put in the whatever scenic lighting for the background, and then now it's everything that I'm going to put into the foreground or elements I may add to the background. Then that's doable as well. And sometimes, particularly with painting, you have to do that if you don't want the background to flow and mix too much with other background elements or your foreground element. So how did I get into all of that? I don't even know. I seriously don't even remember just why we're talking about painting in foreground. Well, that was a tangent, and that tangent is gone. But yeah, so part two of Dream Car. Part one talked about what was my dream car, and still is, which was the Supra, the night. I think it's the '90s Supra. I think it is. I don't know. I should look it up again. But anyway, with the Gran Turismo, man, from Gran Turismo, and so that's always been a favorite of mine, and so we talked about that, and what else? I know we had some ambient moments with my boys in the background, so we had that to navigate as well. But I think the big thing was just about just what was our dream cars and stuff like that. And so I wanted to continue it because I felt like that was rushed to some degree. And so just want to kind of put a bow on it, so to speak. And see where we go from here. So part two. And the premise is if you had all the money in the world, but you had enough money to buy whatever car you wanted to buy. And I'll set the premise like you had enough money if you wanted to buy 3 Bugattis, you could, and you wouldn't feel it. So that's the premise. So if you had that amount of money, what supercar would you buy? And of course, we talked about the our supercar. What's our supercar? And so, would you change your supercar? Like, would you say, I'm gonna upgrade? I'm gonna upgrade my supercar to this because I have enough money to buy it. So say like in my case, I'm like, oh hey, Supra, but I'm like, you know what, man, I can get a Ferrari now. I can get a LaFerrari. I can get a 540 if I want. or even the more earlier iterations. So yeah, I could really ball out. You know, I'll still get a super. It'll just make it more possible for me to get a super and then just go crazy with the modifications. And so, because yes, I'm not one of those. I'm a car enthusiast, but I'm not one of those where, hey man, it has to be like all original and all that stuff. Um, I think that would be great for a car that you're either not going to drive as much, or it really falls into an antique category. So 1800 type vehicle cars. But yeah, because if you think about it, even like you know, uh, well, some companies have great engineering, but when you think about all the safety factors of having ABS and traction control, those are key. And unless you're like a real experienced driver and you're going to be responsible as you drive, then that negates the risk of losing control and suffering, bodily injuries or injuring someone else, and then death. And so, but I would definitely tune the heck out of the Super. Oh yeah, so um, I not really changed the body line so much, but more like under the hood, just performance stuff like that. Because that body line, it's like I don't want to mess with that. Um, that's iconic. So, but yeah, I would still get that, and I would get some other stuff that I'm an enthusiast about, like Porsches. I really love Porsche vehicles. Haven't driven one uh, in person, so this is all like simulation, and according to the simulation, uh, just the control, and then when I've heard from actual professional race car drivers, and they share the same experience of, oh yeah, it's very balanced, it's such, and I'm like, oh okay, so I guess this simulation was, nothing, nothing could replicate the real thing, um, but you can come close. So to be able to experience, oh wow, you know what, I really wasn't that far off. Oh, you know what? Did I start the timer? I did not. Well, there you go. This I had to install Norton, and now it's like every little single thing. I'm like, man, you know what? I just want to get hacked. It seems, well, I don't, but it just seems like every little thing there's a pop up, and it's so annoying. It's like, man, I had not these worries about pop ups now. Now it's like, hey, do you want to allow, And I'm like, hey, I just, you know, can you just stop interrupting me? I'm just, just allow it, but price you have to pay for, safety and security. So, but anyway, but yeah, man, Porsches, GT, the GTRs, all, Lamborghinis, not so much. I'm just not I don't have a flashy personality. I don't. I could be quite dull. Maybe you could tell by my monotone radio night voice. But I'm just not flashy. I'm not, even like clothing. I don't like big branded emblems on my shirt or pants. If it's a little emblem, bam, good, I'm fine with that. But to say like polo all over the front, or whatever other brand, Tommy Hilfiger, Gap, what, I just don't. I'm not a flashy dude. I prefer subtlety. I like performance. So like a nice little sleeper car, those, and that for those who are, car geeks and stuff like that, you'll understand that terminology. For those who don't know, sleeper car is just basically a car that's tuned to the gills. But when you see it, you see like a Honda Civic, and it's like, oh, hey, okay, Honda Civic. But it's like a Honda Civic with a tuned Ferrari engine. and so hence why they call it sleeper cars, because you're sleeping on it. You're not you're taking it for granted. You're like, whatever. It's it's the the age old analogy of you know if there's two fighters and one is just really jacked, muscular, and the other slender, and it's like, oh, I'm gonna, and then they're like disposed off in spectacular fashion. So, but that's a sleeper car. And again, I don't know where I was going with. I don't know what's happening today. These side tangents, and me not remembering why with the tangents. So, but yeah. Oh, me, yes, I don't like flashy. I don't. Yeah, so Lamborghini. I don't think I'll ever buy a Lamborghini. I just, I think they're cool and they're engineered incredibly. It's just too flashy. I don't want. Now, granted, a Porsche GTR S is gonna be flashy and loud. I don't know. It's just, I think if there's a person who's not a car person, they may take a glance at a GTR, they see it, But if you show up with a Lamborghini, and the thing is, and it's a good testament to what they've accomplished too, because even and I'm gonna butcher the name, like a Mar-a-Lago, even like the entry level, just those sharp lines, and give props to them, man. Their sharp line design, it's iconic. You just know, bam, that's a Lamborghini. Similar to Ferrari, particularly with some of its lines and its color too. It's like red, bam. It's like that iconic red. For Lamborghini, I mean, it's all these different colors, but it's just that body design. It's just like the Porsche, 911. It's like, bam, I know that look. Headlights, tail, bam. So Lamborghini has up for that, but it's just not for me. I just don't. I don't like the flash and bash. I'll prefer to have a car that's equal or comparable to that performance, but don't have to worry about all of that. So, but anyway, that was a lot of talk about what you would do if you had money to buy whatever supercar you would want to buy. Why would you buy it? Okay. So, because let's say you have no need for it, would you still buy it? Particularly, say like a car that's gonna be in the hundreds of thousands, if not millions, right? Would you still buy it? Would you still buy the Koenigsegg when you're like, I don't really like it, but hey, it's attached to status. So, because that's what happens a lot. Like, sometimes folks will just buy vehicles just to be like, hey man, I have a Ferrari, I have a Lamborghini, I'm flashing, I've made it, and honestly on smaller scales, if you want to say, okay, average working person, they do the same thing too as well. It just doesn't happen to be a German, Italian exotic car, but it could be like, hey man, I always wanted to buy a new car. And that would be the boat that we're in, so to be able to buy a new car would be like, and so, but the caveat I'm putting out is, if we had all the money, or money wasn't an issue for the purchase, why would we make the purchase? Would we be giving in to society's expectation, or the status quo, to buy such, to make such a purchase? And so yeah, so that's something that we just have to ask ourselves, to make sure that even though we can do something, doesn't always mean we have to do that thing. And that can be a tough spot to be in, because let's say you always wanted this item, and now you can get it. Do you get it? You always wanted it. So yeah. So is it freeing? And so I just know in my in my experience, and I'm sure you guys have experienced it as well, to some degree, where we would make purchases just because it's expected. It may not even be something that we really want, but it's like, hey man, so and so is getting this, and so this is the new thing that's in. So yeah, I'm gonna get a Gucci bag because Gucci bags are in. I'm gonna get the new sneakers because they're hot and they're in. Man, this new appliance, I have to get it. Whatever it is. This new clothing line. It's always it's a must-have. And so, yeah, so it's so easy to fall into those traps, if we're not grounded. And if we're not grounded, in the sense of, okay, is this something that's a need? Is this essential? Why? And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying, because I don't want it to get misconstrued, because my dream is to do art as a full-time profession, right? And so, and honestly, it's not even to become rich at doing it. If I can, if my art production can provide a revenue where, hey, my bills are paid, mortgage is paid monthly. Basically, if I'm making the same money that I'm making now, I'll be content. Of course, I'm going to always want more. That's my aspiration. My aspiration is always to want more, in the sense of to do better, to improve. The same thing with work, right? If you're working, you want to be able to get a raise. You're putting in good work. You want that recognized. So yeah, but I'm just saying, like, my mindset is not at a point where I'm like, man, you know what? I need to be making, $500K a year, and that's what I want to make. That's what I want to do, and once I get at that level, then yeah, that's success, and I get my dream car and all this, and so that's when I'll know for a fact that I have arrived. And so we just got to be careful with that, just where we align our, in my opinion, where we align our priorities, so that way we are not left longing, right? Because I'm sure you've heard stories of folks who apparently, just from the outside, they're like, man, this person should have want or need for anything. I mean, from what I can see, they have it all. So like, what's the what's the big deal? Like, what is happening that it just seems like there's no contentment, or there's such what's the word I'm looking for? There's such like constant turmoil, because we know riches don't change the existence of trauma, death, illness. Wealth certainly improves the everyday life of, hey, bigger house, bills paid, certain monetary stress of, oh man, another bill, but hey, it's taken care of. Stuff like that. Wealth will change those things. Again, like our topic, dream car, dream house, whatever, dream equipment. Let's say you're musically inclined, and so now you can get your mixing board that you want, top line, speakers, microphone, all of that stuff. If you're into crafts, you can get the top line sewing machine and all the stuff, whatever you're into, photography, top line cameras, the brands, all that stuff. It's there's no there's no obstacle that you can't hit. And so but if you're not truly content, just with just who you are, we're gonna run into some serious issues, particularly when life hits the fan. And so, and the thing is, you don't want to wish that on folks who are wealthy, because they have to deal with it. And sometimes it's easy for us who may not have as much to be like, oh man, they don't know what it is to. And the thing is, we don't know what it is to be in their position. We can see, man, they have the dream car that I want. Look, they're not even driving it. They don't appreciate it. They have so much, and then, nah, we don't know. We don't know. So, so we honestly can't get too caught up with that, because we have no clue what that person or those people go through. So I think I hear, it could be my oldest boy. He's an early bird like myself. I think I hear him. But yeah, so so a little slight twist on that topic line, because it's something I have to remind myself. Sometimes, I have to remind, okay, why is this your dream? Whatever, is it based on a practical level of, yeah, you know what? Yeah, this is something I really aspire for, and I will use it. Um, and it's just, it is a desire and a longing. It's not detrimental to myself or others, and it's almost like a stamp of achievement. And so sometimes I just have to remind myself, okay, yeah, this is why I want to pursue that. Just like what I'm working right on, like the equipment I'm using right now, Wacom. Always wanted a Wacom display tablet since they came out with their Wacom display tablets. And so, but it is always out of my reach because it's just stinking expensive, So even this one that I have right now, it's fully paid off, but I thank, what was the app? Klarna? It wasn't a firm. I think it was Klarna, if I'm pronouncing that right, or Klarna, whatever. But it was a financing app that I was able to use, and that made it possible for me to purchase it. And I want to say that was like over 10 years of just wanting it and knowing that, man, this is what I'm gonna need uh, to to do my artwork, to take it to another level, and just production too as well, to be able to create freely, um, and so and easily. But it took some time. But it wasn't. I mean, I've used this. Battery level. Sorry, gotta plug in my laptop. I've used this, man, almost every day since I got it. I mean, there may be certain days where, say, if I was sick, under the weather, but um, I mean, let me put it this way: a month wouldn't go by without me using this in some form or fashion. And so, um, um, and yes, I mean, it is a work tool. That's what it's for. Um, but but it was always my dream to get this, And of course, they always have iterations and new ones and newer ones and all this stuff. But this was still, I was like, man, to get a Wacom, I mean, it would be everything. You know what I mean? And so yes, I was totally geeked out when it arrived, and man, can't tell you. Uh, so all that, continue to seek after your dreams, seek after the possessions that you believe is going to really provide an impact on your life in a very meaningful way, and the things that may, from someone outside looking in, may be more of a superficial, more of a emotional, high lift experience. It's not like it's going to really impact your life in a meaningful way. I think we can still pursue those things. And like for my case, dream car, super, so still in my back mind, but it's not like if I had the means right now, literally, to get a super, I would buy a super. No, I would get another vehicle that I practically need, that we practically need as a family, or I'm like, oh, yeah, we need to do certain repairs to the house. Yeah, we need to pay off our bills. Yeah, that's what I do. I wouldn't, so if someone dumped 100K and I'm like, oh, wow, I can finally get a super. No, I'm not going to do that. So, but it doesn't negate that the super is in fact and still will be my dream car. But when the time comes for that, then that will be the time to to make that purchase if that time ever comes, Uh, and I guess that's another key thing too to keep in mind, that we need to keep in mind, is that, hey, that time may not come, and for that particular item, and we may just need to adjust it to something else uh, that's slightly more applicable to what we actually need, or to what we can actually manage, and to be okay with that, right? Because ultimately, you want peace of mind, um, and nothing beats peace of mind. So, so if I never get the Super, but my bills are paid, we're financially comfortable to, if we have a random expense, a transmission goes out, the HVAC system needs to be replaced, we can replace it, no big deal. Oh, there we go. There's the timer. Man, I'm all good, or like the old saying, I'm Gucci. Hopefully that was another place, but like, I'm good. I don't need to worry about day-to-day stuff. Yeah, at that point, getting that dream car is just a cherry on the top, but it won't be a longing, because it's an emotional dream. So like my dream of doing art full-time professionally is a aspirational dream and goal. I think when we want to get items, those are more emotional oriented goals. It's like, oh, hey, I can get that watch that I always wanted. There's an emotional attachment to that. There's an emotion attached to that. I got that, or I got the dress, or I got the hat. When you think of, oh, I got the promotion, oh, I went to the other job, I've upgraded, oh, I'm married now, oh, I have kids, those are like those aspirational, lifelong, life-changing goals that that have a higher significance. Hopefully that all made sense. So, but anyway, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Again, as you always have been, for those who have. Do need my subscriber count to go up. It'd be great if I can get 10 subscribers. I think currently I'm at 4. So see, that's another goal. That's another goal. Strive right there. Get some more subscribers. You know what I mean? And see where it goes from there. But yeah, subscribe, like, and subscribe. Share the link if you like what was said and stuff like that. There's an archive of other episodes as well, so you can, if you have time, check those out. You can go to my facebook.com /Michelot Comics page to follow me there as well. There's postings of illustrations and comics that I put up on that page. Also my Instagram at Michelot Lully. What else? Oh yeah, my website. I keep forgetting about my website, which is michelotlully.com. And you can support what we do here at Patreon, and that's patreon.com /Michelot Lully. You will see all of the chirons, if that's what they are, whatever, you'll see them all pop up and stuff like that. You can go ahead and just take a look at those. I will appreciate all the support I can get. And thanks for taking the time to watch this, to listen to this, and share some of your comments too. Like, what would be your dream car if you had all the funds to buy, and share, if there's a certain question you may have, feel free to post it in the comments, because that's really what this podcast is really. That's my aspirational dream goal for this podcast, is to actually get questions to where I can discuss and hopefully provide a little bit of insight. It's not it's not like any professional counseling type thing. It's just conversations. So thanks for watching. Hope you have a great night, morning, afternoon, evening. Grace and peace.